You probably heard of these four confusing particles 는, 은, 이, 가. You might have heard one is a topic while the other is subject, but honestly, what does this even mean? And in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to correctly use 는은, 이, and 가. And I'm gonna split it into two sections. The first section is grammar, how to use it correctly grammatically. And then the second section is how to use it in context. Basically, in what situations we use it in. And since there are going to be a lot of examples in the section 2, make sure you look at each examples. So let's learn the grammar first. We have 는은 and 이응가. 는은 are topic particles or topic markers. They're attached to different topic nouns. And we have 이응가, which are subject particles or subject markers, and they're attached to subject nouns. So first, let's take a look at topic particles. The way we differentiate between 는 and 은 is actually easy. If the noun ends in a vowel, we attach 는. If it ends in a consonant, we attach 은. For example, if we have the name Sarah, or in Korean, 사라, since the name ends in a vowel, we put 사라는. And if we have the name Megan, or in Korean, 메간, since the noun ends in a consonant, it's going to be 메간은. We attach 은. So let's talk about subject particles now. Fortunately, the rules are exactly the same, but now with subjects. So if a noun ends in a vowel, we attach 가. If a noun ends in a consonant, we attach 이. So let's take the name 사라 again, but now as a subject. Since it ends in a vowel, it's going to be 사라가. And Megan, as a subject, since it ends in a consonant, we're going to say 메간 이. So to differentiate between 은 and 은, 이 and 가, just memorize this chart. Pause the video right now to copy it down on your notebook or even just screenshot it. And here's something that you need to understand, okay? I want you to write it down somewhere. In Korean, the word I changes depending on whether you're going to be using it as a topic or subject. As a topic, I is 저. And since it ends in a vowel, you're going to put 저는. As a subject, the word I is 제. And since it ends in a vowel, now, as a subject, we'll put 제가. So as a topic is 저는, as a subject is 제가. Make sure you know this. So we're done with the grammar part, and now we're going to move on to the second section, context. And this part is very, very important. So you might be wondering why you need to learn these examples and situations. So let me give you an example. For example, in English, let's say someone asks you the question, what are you learning? Then you can respond, I'm learning Korean. And another person could come up to you and ask you, who's learning Korean? Then you can answer with the same response, I'm learning Korean. In Korean, we can't actually use the same response. We need to change one as a topic and one as a subject, depending on the question. And that's why you need to learn about these different examples and in what situation we use each one. So let's compare topic and subject. The first way you can differentiate it is we use topic when we're talking about something general, generally known facts. So for example, let's say you see a lion. What's the generally known fact about their size? They're big. That's why in Korean we would say 사자는 커요. Lions are big. Lions are generally known to be big. On the other hand, we use subjects when we're talking about something specific. For example, let's say you go to a zoo and you see a lion, but then it's quite small. In this case, you're talking about that specific lion. So you would say in this case, 사자가 작아요. That specific lion is small. Another example could be, if you see bananas, usually they are yellow. So in Korean, you say, 바나나는 노란색이에요. But say you go to this mart and you see this weird looking banana and the color is red. In this case, you would say, 바나나가 빨간색이에요. The banana is red, right? You're talking about that specific banana. The second way we can differentiate between topic and subject is, topic focuses on the behavior, while the subject focuses on the subject, or the who. To better understand this, let me give an example. For example, let's say there's a child who's singing. And if someone asks, what is the child doing? In Korean, I would say, 아이는 노래 부르고 있어요. I use the topic. Why? Because the focus is on the behavior. What is the child doing? What is the behavior of the child? The child is singing. That's a verb that she's doing right now. On the other hand, if someone asks the question, who is singing? I would reply, 아이가 노래 부르고 있어요. Because why? Because the question is focusing on who, or the subject. And when we translate 아이는 노래 부르고 있어요 and 아이가 노래 부르고 있어요 into English, although it's the same one sentence, the child is singing, in Korean, 아이는 노래 부르고 있어요 is focusing on the behavior, while 아이가 노래 부르고 있어요 is focusing on the who, or the subject. Now that you understood the topic focuses on behavior, while the subject focuses on the who, let's go back to our example previously. So let's go back to the example that we talked about previously when someone asked us, what are you learning? And we responded, I'm learning Korean. And someone else asked us, who's learning Korean? We took the same response, I'm learning Korean. Now let's try to respond in Korean. For the question, what are you learning? We should answer, 저는 한국어를 배우고 있어요. Why? Because the question is asking us about the behavior. So when it focuses on behavior, we need to put topic, 저는. On the other hand, for the question, who is learning Korean, since it is focusing on the who, or the subject, we say, 제가 한국어를 배우고 있어요. Next, I want to talk about something that only applies to topic. We use topic when there's a contrast, or when there's a transition within a context. Let me give you an example. Let's say there are three people. The first person says, 저는 사과 먹었어요. I ate an apple. The second person says, 저도 사과 먹었어요. I also ate an apple. But the third person, he actually ate a banana. In this case, he would say, 저는 바나나 먹었어요. The first person and second person, they ate the same thing, an apple. But the third person, he's talking about that he ate a banana. There's a transition within the context. That's why he put topic particle. And in English, it's more in the translation of as for me. So it would be, as for me, I ate a banana. Let's look at another example. Let's say there are four people. The first person says, 저는 한국에서 왔어요. I'm from Korea. The second person says, 저도 한국에서 왔어요. I'm also from Korea. The third person says, 저는 미국에서 왔어요. As for me, I'm from the USA. And then the fourth person, he says, 저는 캐나다에서 왔어요. As for me, I'm from Canada. From this example, we can know the first person and the second person are from Korea. They're talking about that they're from the country Korea. But then, when the third person says, I'm from USA, there has been a transition within the context. But then, the fourth person also says, I'm from Canada. There has also been another transition. That's why he said, 저는 캐나다에서 왔어요. Now that we learned when to use it as a topic and subject, I'm going to give you a real-life situation where we could apply these concepts. Let's take a look at this. So today is Valentine's Day, and you receive a candy or a 사탕 from your partner. And with the candy, you go to work, and you place the candy or 사탕 on your desk. And before you start working, you go to the bathroom. And after you're done, you come back to your office, and you look down on your desk and you can't believe what just happened. The candy is gone. 사탕이 없어졌어요. So you run out of the office and you see these four people, or four suspects now. For your first suspect, we have the intern, or intern, who started working from last week. For your second suspect, we have Mina. She's the kindest person that you've ever seen. As your third suspect, you have Martin, who barely speaks, so no one really knows much about him. As your last suspect, we have the boss, or 사장님. He's always kind and friendly to everyone. So with everyone present here, you ask the question, 누가 제 사탕 먹었어요? Who ate my candy? Mina is the first person to look at you, and she starts crying and says, 제가 먹었어요. I ate it. And she runs out of the room. But something's weird, because you know in fact that Mina does not eat sweets. So you look at Martin. Martin replies, 저는 안 먹었어요. I didn't eat it. Something's quite suspicious, but you look at the boss now. You ask the boss, 사장님은 뭐 하고 있었어요? What were you doing, boss? And he replies, 저는 일하고 있었어요. I was working. Then you look at the intern. He hasn't given you any response. So you just say, forget it, I'm just gonna head back to my office. But at that moment, the intern puts down his notebook, he stands up, and slowly walks towards you. Before I tell you what happens, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. So back at it, the intern puts down his notebook, and he stands and slowly walks towards you and points at the boss and says, 사장님이 사탕 먹었어요. And the boss cries and says, 맞아요. 제가 사탕 먹었어요. But of course, you're working at a Korean company, so you can't say anything. So let's go back and see when and why we use it as topic and subject. So first of all, I asked the question, 누가 제 사탕 먹었어요? Who ate my candy? And Mina is the first one to respond, 제가 먹었어요. She's using it as subject. Why? Because subject focuses on who. Who ate my candy? I ate it. Next, we have Martin, who replies, 저는 안 먹었어요. He replies using it as a topic. Why? Because there has been a transition within the context. In translation, it would be more of, as for me, I didn't eat it. Because previously, Mina says she ate it, and Martin says he didn't eat it. That's why there was a transition in the context. And then you ask another question to the boss. 사장님은 뭐 하고 있었어요? What were you doing, boss? And the boss replies, 저는 일하고 있었어요. He used topic. Why? Because right now, I was asking about his behavior. 뭐 하고 있었어요? What were you doing? Remember, topic focuses on behavior. That's why when he answered, he said 저는, using it as a topic. And here's the important part. When the brave intern points to the boss and says, 사장님이 사탕 먹었어요. The boss ate the candy. In this case too, notice that we use subject. We use 이 because 사장님, it ends on a consonant. But the important part is we use subject because it's focusing on the who. Who ate the candy? The boss ate the candy. Next, the boss replies, 맞아요. 제가 사탕 먹었어요. That's right, I ate the candy. In this case too, we use the subject, 제가, because it's emphasizing on the who. So here's the important part that you need to listen. Although we did talk about the difference between topic and subject today, the next time you actually try to put this into conversation, there's a high chance that you're still going to be confused which one to use. But this part's the important part. Don't be hard on yourself, even though you're confused and if you feel like you still don't get it. Because the more you put into practice, and the next time you watch your Korean drama and movie, if you look at when they use topic and subject and study these specific situations and examples, one day it's gonna hit you, oh, in this situation, topic sounds a bit awkward. I need to use subject. So keep practicing this. And meanwhile, if you want to look at more grammar rules, make sure you watch these videos.